Yeah, fucking yeah, yeah. They're gonna wanting to impose. UN is wanting to impose laws on the American citizen. I mean, look it up.
Congress has to approve it. President has to
And
sign
you know what my response to that shit is? Yeah, fuck you, asshole. You're not my government. You're not my country. You're not even supposed to fucking be here. Get the fuck out. You know, because see, the founders said that no foreign entity is supposed to be on American soil on a permanent basis. They're not supposed to. Read the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers. Read them. All
Well,
right.
the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers are simply records of the debates regarding...
Exactly, but that's how we know what the founders' intent was. That's how we know what was going through their heads. Now, listen.
Right, but the important document, the one that carries legal weight, is the Constitution,
Well,
not
I
those
understand.
papers.
I understand that. But listen to me, all right? Is the UN a foreign power? Yes, it is. It has an army, the Blue Helmets, and it has legislation, the committee. All right, so they are, and the UN is in fact a foreign power. It really is.
Well,
You know, and by the founding fathers, per what the founding fathers have said in their written documents, they're not supposed to fucking be on our soil, not on a permanent basis.
Yeah.
they're ambassadors.
I understand how.
And the UN building is specifically dedicated for hosting the UN.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I would do. I'd kick their ass over to Brussels. Let them go to Brussels, and I would take that building, and I would take all my veterans and all my poor that's on the streets, and I'd give them a free apartment. That's what I would do. But that's just me. It's me.
Okay. Yeah, that's you. And you're welcome to your opinions. I'm not worried about the UN. If I saw blue hats, if your worst dreams came to pass, well, I won't last long because, believe me, those blue hats would be getting 30 caliber holes in them.
Mm.
Well, actually, just under the rim, where
Right.
there is no
Question.
Yeah.
There's a serious question. Why would you bother resisting them?
Why would I bother resisting them?
Well, what do you think the U.S. is going to do to you? Assuming they did invade and take over.
Obviously, if the UN invades with blue helmets and takes over America, we would no longer be free. Do you honestly believe that the Constitution would still be in play if a foreign entity took us over? Fuck no, it wouldn't. The Constitution would be out the window.
Yeah, it's a question
That's
of
great. I mean, it doesn't protect any trans rights. It doesn't. Yeah, Constitution is not so great. It doesn't protect any trans rights. Doesn't.
Not so great.
You know, you have the oppression of.
Well, Nadia, listen at you. Not so great. Not so great. Listen at you. One of the most groundbreaking documents ever written in the history of mankind, but it's not so great. Listen at you. Listen what's coming out of your mouth. Not so great.
I have a pretty good idea of what I'm saying.
Well, let me refresh your memory. All right, back when the document was ratified, what was going on at the time? Kings, feudal lords, and all kinds of mayhem at the behest of a few. And here comes a bunch of guys, radical guys, in my opinion, who said, no, that ain't right. The king and these feudal lords shouldn't have all the power. The power should belong to the people. What they wrote back then was radical. What they wrote back then was groundbreaking, and it was fundamental to the freedom that we enjoy today. What little we have left.
I would highly recommend you read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States.
I would prefer to read what the founders wrote, but but you know, I mean, but that was a groundbreaking document for its day. You know, I mean, would you rather live under a king? Would you rather live under feudal lords? Would you rather live under a brutal oligarchy? Because that's what there was back in their day. Okay,
you think
but
our
they come
oligarchy
along
is
and
less
said,
brutal?
hey, huh?
Do you think our oligarchy is any less brutal right now?
Well, we didn't have an oligarchy when they first formed this nation. We do now, but the point is that the document that they wrote, the Constitution, was a radical document for its day. The thought that a mere peasant should have rights was unfathomable back then. You know, the idea that a mere peasant should have as much rights as a king, holy shit, that was extremely radical back in their day. The Constitution of the United States is the most radical document ever written in the history of man, in my humble opinion. And that's why it's not just a goddamn piece of paper, George Bush, you motherfucker.
It's printed on hemp paper, too.
Yes, it is, actually. But oh my God, that burned me up when George Bush, oh, it's just a goddamn piece of paper. Fuck you, George Bush. It is not just a goddamn piece of paper. It is not just a goddamn piece of paper. It was a groundbreaking, monumental, radical thing to do back in their day. And they risked everything for that document. Everything, including their lives.
Really? Have you actually read the Federalist Papers?
Yes, I just got through telling you I've read the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. I've read them. I read both. I've read that stuff.
Okay. Did you notice where James Madison said that the Senate should be there to protect the minority of the opulent from the leveling impulses of the masses?
What they wanted, well, Nadia, you can cherry pick what you want. Listen, what they wanted is they wanted everyone to be equal. They didn't want the rich to have more power than the poor. They didn't want the poor to have more power than the rich. They tried to establish a situation where everybody had an equal footing and an equal say in politics and in the military and all this other stuff. Everybody had an equal say.
How is money not power?
They did not want one entity or individual or group of individuals to have more power than the other. That was the whole point of it.
Back in those days, Nadia, back in those days, election funding was not what it is today. So buying influence.
Yeah, hold on. Wasn't in the past the way you had to vote, you had to own land and you had to be, you know, like
a lot of the rules were different.
A lot of rules were different.
The states have their own laws.
Yeah.
And in some states, and in fact those rules haven't been repealed, in some states you actually have to believe in a higher power in order to legally hold office.
Yes.
But yeah, originally the only people who could vote were landowners.
Correct.
And, you know, it makes sense because, you know, they have an actual stake in the game.
Exactly. If you just come over here willy-nilly, and why
force?
Now wait a minute there, Green. Listen, Green. Why should somebody who just comes over here willy-nilly have a right?
How about people that were forced over?
Well, now wait a minute, Green. Let me finish my point. Why would people who just come over here willy-nilly have a say in our government?
Well, why would they come here willy-nilly? What does that mean?
Well, let me give you an example. Let's say I want to take over the United States, and I come over here, and I get a chance to get a voice in government, and I can get a bunch of my people together. I could take over the government.
So the Europeans that were coming from Europe, you know,
which is exactly what they were trying to prevent, because Europe was corrupt. In their mind, Europe was corrupt. They were trying to start something new.
Oh, there was revolutions in France, right? There were things that were going on in England.
So it didn't happen until later on. All right.
But you know, what is the primary reason why people want to come into the
1600s? I forget the precise date.
What was it?
The British had a revolution in the 1600s.
Right.
I forget the exact date.
1688. The Glorious Revolution.
Yeah.
Was a very different phenomenon. It was
very different.
William of Orange riding over the channel with a band of mercenary thugs, and well, just walking into whatever palace they were using. Excuse me, they were walking. He just walked into whatever mercenary palace they were using at that point. A band of mercenary thugs, and just took right over.
Yeah.
That was the quote-unquote Glorious Revolution of 1688.
Yeah.
Is that the same one where the Parliament gained autonomy over the king? That is.
Oh no, that would be the British Civil War.
Okay.
Or,
And that's
something
why.
like civil thing.
But Green, back to my point. You know, Green, you need to be a citizen, not a civilian. You understand the difference? Citizens have rights. Civilians generally do not. All right. You need to be a citizen.
What makes a citizen?
Because just anybody could take you over, dude. I just told you. Somebody could come in here and take a country over. You need rules and regulations. If you don't have rules and regulations, the result is chaos. You have to have rules and regulations.
Of course.
Yes,
I know that.
Yes.
But what requires you to be a citizen, though?
You need to be loyal also to this country.
How do you do that, though?
The Pledge of Allegiance, the swearing fealty to the Constitution of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
Yeah, let's say if a person wants to take it over, they'll just play along with the game.
Yeah, and then we find them out and we shoot them by firing squad, which is what we used to do.
Wow. Okay.
That's what we do. Yeah, it's called treason, dude. Look it up. It's called treason. See, you've allowed liberalism to destroy your mind, son, and it's sad. It really is. I'm sad for you because that's what you do. That's what you do to a traitor. That's what you do to an infiltrator. No. Let me finish your point. Your point, not my point. Your point. Your point is somebody come over here and take over the country.
I never said that.
They come over here and they infiltrate our government and they take over my country. I expect my government to shoot them via fire squad.
Yeah, but I never said that.
Because that's treason, okay? I expect that shit to happen. You got Jane Fonda over here fucking destroying our nation, talking shit about us even to this very fucking day. She should have been shot by firing squad. She went to fucking North Korea and manned a fucking anti-aircraft gun shooting at our boys up in the air. Her fucking ass should have been shot
North
for
Vietnam.
treason.
North Vietnam.
She should have been shot for treason. She was a treasonous bitch and she should have been shot. She should have been lined up against the wall and shot by firing squad. That's what you do to treasonous bastards. But see, we've allowed ourselves to become pussified. No offense. We've allowed ourselves to become pussified and do away with things that used to fucking matter.
Hey.
Nothing fucking matters.
Well, hopefully Marcy Bowers makes you pussified.
Oh, please. Come on. God, please.
Dr. Marcy Bowers, yeah.
Please, come on. But, you know, I mean, seriously, man. You know, if I committed an act of treason against this country, I would expect my ass to be put up against a wall too. You know, I'm not just blowing shit out here.
Treason is a federal crime, and the death penalty has been banned at the federal level. So
yeah, like a bunch of fucking
basically, you'd go to Leavenworth or whatever, and it would be life in prison.
Well, she's not even getting life in prison. She's out there fucking making a goddamn documentary as we speak, I think. Isn't that what's going on?
Rice, or who's that?
Jane Fonda.
You forfeit your rights when you infringe upon the rights of others. It's called being a criminal, okay? That's why we call them criminals, because they don't obey laws and they infringe on the rights of others.
She was never charged for whatever.
I don't understand why she couldn't be charged. We got a picture of her manning the damn gun, firing at our people. Why in the fuck couldn't she be charged?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations on that particular.
There shouldn't be. If there is, there shouldn't be. There should be no statute of limitations on murder or treason.
Well, there isn't on murder. I don't know about treason. Although, from what I understand, there doesn't seem to be one on treason either.
Good.
But unless she's actually prosecuted and convicted through due process, you know, there's nothing that can be done about it.
The rest don't live under the same laws we do anyway.
Limp-wristed motherfuckers in fucking D.C. Yeah. That's it. That's the problem.
Jane Fonda's in the she's not going to get
They don't give a damn about the Constitution. They don't give a damn about this country. And they're fucking career politicians. They don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit about this country. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. They're up there making their money and forming their little packs and groups and shit like that. And they don't give two fucks. They are in a bubble.
Nixon had the opportunity to have her arrested the moment she returned to U.S. soil and charged with treason.
Mm-hmm.
That is, well, specifically aiding and comforting the enemy.
Right, giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Correct. Correct.
He had the ability to do that. He did not do that. Ford could have done it. He did not do it either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's effectively water under the bridge now.
Well, like I said, a bunch of lifers, as I would call them, who sit up there in D.C. and they're in their own little fucking bubble. They do not know how the real citizen lives out here on the streets. They have no fucking
They become millionaires or are already millionaires when they go into office.
Well, my God, you got to have $1 million just to run for public office these days, any goddamn way. Look at Hillary Clinton. She's got a trillion with a T as in Tom, $1 trillion war chest to run for president of the United States. What the fuck, man? What the founding fathers are not? The founding fathers are not rolling in place. They're fucking spinning at light speed. Okay, you know this is bullshit. Never gotten involved in our politics. It should have been about serving your country. It should have been about doing a service for your country. Ben Franklin would take a 2-day horse ride from fucking his printing press office up to Pennsylvania to work in Congress, and he did it for free. 2-day horse ride or buggy ride or whatever the fuck it was, in the snow, for fuck's sake. You know? And then 2-day horse ride back. You know, and he did it for free. You know, what the fuck have we become, man? What have we become? We become a bunch of lazy fucks that don't give a shit about nothing, man. We don't care anymore. Nobody wants to fucking care anymore. You know, it's sad, man. It's fucking sad. You know, when a man would leave his job as a printing press and take a 2-day buggy ride up to serve his country for free, yeah, that says a lot about him and very little about us, don't it? I mean, for real. You know, but it's supposed to be a service to your country, man. Hey, they ain't supposed to be no money involved in politics. They're not. They're just not.
Well, unfortunately, Taft set a strong precedent in New York.
I know it.
And it spread like cancer, fully metastasized. Damn. Not a big fan of rents. And definitely not conspiracy theory.
Green, did you check out the gospel and the event description?
What does it say?
Okay, I'll screen share.
Okay.
And there it is.
Oh, do you have a PDF file or something I could download? That looks like a lot to read.
Come on. A text file would be much smaller.
Wow.
Which is what that actually is.
In the event description.
That's not that much text, man. That's not very big. That's.
Thank you.
It's just 13. How ironic, but that's 13 points. It's not. It's not that much. I don't think you need a PDF for 13 bullet points.
I forget how I edited it. If I edited it at all. But
Like I said, Nadia, I'm okay with you until number 11, and we're just not gonna agree on number 11 at all. Not at all.
You're okay with
I don't give a damn what you believe. I don't care if you believe in a flying spaghetti monster. I don't give a shit about that. But I do give a shit about the unborn.
Yeah.
What
if the abortion was dropped? Would you agree with 11 if abortion was dropped?
Huh?
Would you agree with line 11 if abortion was removed?
No, because I'm not exactly in favor of euthanasia either. What if you get some dickwad in there that wants to euthanize your ass? Well, it wouldn't be so funny then, right? You know?
Presumably,
it's voluntary.
it's something you would want to do yourself. That is,
but you see what I'm saying.
Trust or what have you.
Right, but you see what I'm saying. It's very easy for somebody to manipulate shit. I mean, you know, look at what they've done to our Constitution. They manipulated it to where it almost doesn't have any power these days. All right, it would be very easy to manipulate in that, oh, okay, you want a euthanasia? Okay, start with you. We'll start with you. You know, we'll give you the euthanasia. We'll start with you. You know, no, fuck that, man. That number 11 is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Because it can be misconstrued and used against us. You got to be careful how you word shit today, man. Because them fools in D.C. are stupid. They had a bunch of dumb motherfuckers.
Well, some of them.
I generally argue for Belgium's policies on this front.
I guarantee you,
if you number of them are lawyers, and
if you gave this list right here as written to the people in Washington D.C., every one of us in this room would be fucking euthanized tomorrow because they don't give a shit. They don't fucking care, man. They'll fucking have somebody come out here euthanize every goddamn one of us. They don't give a shit.
This is available to you right now as we're looking at it.
You see what I'm saying, right? You see how easy it would be, though, for the fools in D.C. to misconstrue this or to you know, turn it against us, if you will. I mean, it would be very easy for them to do.
I don't know.
By and large, Oregon has not had a rash of trouble with this. It's legal in some states already, I think. Or at least Oregon. I think Washington too.
Right now.
Why do you think Oregon and Washington let it happen?
Well, Nadia, nobody said that every American had a brain, right?
The entire state of Oregon doesn't have a brain, or half of it.
If they approve of euthanasia and abortion, no. You know why? Because euthanasia and abortion combined together equals extinction. That's what it equals. All right, we're going to kill the old and kill the unborn. Well, what happens in that scenario? It's called extinction. Yeah, that's what happens in that scenario. If you're killing the unborn and you're killing the elderly, you ain't going to have no civilization. It's going to go extinct. Duh. You know, let's use a little common sense here. You know,
where do you get killing the old?
Isn't that what euthanasia is? Isn't that what a euthanasia is? We're going to kill people before they get old, or we're going to kill the elderly, or you know.
Well, it's certainly not a matter of.
I got
Nadia.
It's not a rule.
Nadia, if you haven't already seen this movie, I encourage you to watch it. It's called Logan's Run. I encourage you to watch it. Okay.
They knocked you off.
I've never seen that back in the 80s.
I've seen Logan's Run.
Yeah, what did they do in Logan's Run?
Yeah, they knocked you off at 30.
They killed everybody at age 30. That's right. That's right. They killed everybody at age 30. That's right. They sure did.
No
By government decree.
No one's proposing anything like what you're saying.
Nadia, you're not getting what I'm saying.
You want to check out?
Nadia,
if you want
you're
to check
not.
out, you don't have to do it painfully.
Nadia, you're not getting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're advocating it. I'm saying that if you give it to the fools in D.C., they would advocate it. They would make it happen. Okay?
Well,
it would be easy for them to manipulate what you've got written here and basically wipe us out. Okay?
From the last conversation I had with my grandmother, I got the very strong feeling that she would prefer to die with dignity and be euthanized And my grandfather would probably, because he doesn't like the idea of living without her, would also want to be euthanized alongside her. Because neither of them really want to live anymore. They're being forced to live because there is no other alternative available to them.
Suicide is never the answer. Death is never.
They're burning up. Their medical bills are burning up a lifetime of earnings that could be passed on to their children.
Their progeny, right? I understand that. I do. I understand that, but suicide is never a solution, man. It's never a solution, all right? Because, you know, and it goes back to what I said the other day, all right? You know, we are cheapening the human experience, and when you do that, it's a disservice to everyone.
My grandmother is 94.
We disagree very strongly on in what way, in what manner. How?
Well, I believe
the
it
experience is happening through capitalism, not.
My grandmother is 94 years old and bedridden. My grandfather is 98 years old and is barely mobile himself because of bad knees. Although he still has his mind intact, unlike my grandmother. But, I mean, you know, they're both of the opinion pretty much that they have contributed all they care to this world.
Fudd, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is that the government would take that and would create tyranny on the level that we've never seen in the history of this country. Well, you can't sit there, you cannot possibly, if you gave Congress the right to decide who lives and who dies, holy shit, dude, you're setting up a scenario of just unbelievable tyranny. No. We should never ever give the government the right to say who lives and who dies. That is a very, very bad thing.
Then how do they have any right to prevent people from?
I did not infer that from Natalie's gospel.
Well, I never said that, dude. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Nadia is advocating anything. What I'm saying is that if you give it to them fools in D.C., they will make it happen. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Nadia is advocating
with you. I'm listening. I'm disagreeing. I'm saying
well,
it would be done in a voluntary way.
There is no way in hell
to die at a certain age.
Fudd, there is no way in hell I would give Washington, D.C. these 13 bullet points. No way in hell. Because they would take them and they'd run with them like a damn quarterback with a football. Okay? No way in hell would I give Congress these 13 bullet points. No way.
Thanks, Nadia.
Welcome back, Revelations. I've been needing a co-pilot.
Long time no see. Welcome back.
Yeah.
I've been needing a co-pilot on
the ability to do so.
Revelations.
Full dose of medication.
Revelations. I've been queuing them in on the idiocy of Washington D.C. Do you have any comments?
You're skipping the euthanasia thing.
I'm getting to that. Revelations. I've been kind of enlightening them on the stupidity of Washington D.C. Not even just our current administration, but past administrations as well. Do you have any comments?
I would say I feel you on that, Vaughn. That's all I would say.
Yeah, there you go. All right. You know, these 13, you're aware of the 13 bullet points of Nadia, right, Revelations?
I am.
Well,
okay. What we're talking about is giving Washington, D.C. those 13 bullet points. And I'm like, holy shit, no, we're not giving Washington, D.C. That would be the end of mankind as we know it. I would never do that.
Actually, I'm advocating for a global government.
One world order.
I'm just smart.
Oh, please. Oh, God, no, please. You don't know what you're saying.
It would actually... Yeah. I do know what I'm saying.
Nadia, you don't know what you're saying. Look at what happened under kings, and they didn't even have control of the whole world. They just had control of their countries. And look at all the death and mayhem and crazy shit that went on when we existed under kings. And you're wanting one man to have control of the whole fucking world? No way, dude.
No.
That is a disaster. That would be a disaster, an unmitigated disaster, I might add. No, absolutely not. A one-world government is a terrible idea. Even if you put all the conspiracy shit to one side for a minute, and let's just talk about the one-world government in total. No, hell no. Absolute power corrupts what? Absolutely. No way in hell would I give one man power over this whole planet. That is a disaster. That is a bad idea.
Who said one man? Who said one man?
Okay, let's say a group of people. What happens when you have a group of people in charge of the whole planet? Oh, that's right, a brutal oligarchy. No, I don't want that shit either.
Well, have you ever heard of what's called direct democracy?
Say again?
Direct democracy.
You mean the democracy that is veiled mob rule? No, I don't want that either. See, democracy is nice when the mob is on your side, but what if the mob decides to take a dislike to you? Well, then it's not so fun at that point. No, mob rule is not what I want either. I don't want mob rule either. That everybody running around, democracy. Well, what is democracy? Democracy is mob rule. Well, I don't want that shit either. No. Because democracy is great when the mob's on your side. Okay? But what if the mob isn't on your side when you wake up the next day? But then it ain't so fun. No, I don't want mob rule. I don't want feudalism. I don't want a brutal oligarchy. And I sure as fuck don't want a one-world dictator. Fuck that noise. No. What I want is a constitutionally based republic like what we have now. The only problem is that we're not exercising our constitutionally based republic because everybody's running around democracy, not really realizing what the fuck they're saying.
Fucking A, Vaughn, you got it, bro.
People need to wake up. People need to study. People need to show themselves approved, as the Bible would say. There you go, Revelations. I threw you a bone.
Listen, you got it, Vaughn.
Why not exactly like U.S. except for, well, replace Congress with direct vote from quote-unquote the people?
Well, I'll give you this much, Nadia. It's very easy for Rothschild and Rockefeller to go in there with their wads of cash and manipulate our electoral college. I'll give you that one because I agree. I'll throw you a bone there, but I would still rather have the system that the founders intended than any other possible system out there. It may not be perfect. It may not work, as good as it could, but it's a hell of a lot better than living under a tyrant any day. With you advocate communism, and every time communism was tried, what happened? It ended up either in a dictatorship or a brutal oligarchy, didn't it? So communism, whether you like it or not, is immaterial. The result is always the same. At least history says it's always the same. Look at Russia, look at China, look at North Korea, look at North Vietnam. I mean, they've always ended up in either a brutal dictatorship or a brutal oligarchy every goddamn time it's tried. No, damn it. Let's keep what we've got. It might be broken. It might not work as good as it should, but I'd rather keep what we got. Thank you very fucking much. Okay?
How can you say it's being tried in earnest? And what does Marx actually advocate?
Do what now?
Did Marx advocate a brutal oligarchy or?
No, Nadia.
Even socialism in one country?
Nadia, you're putting words in my mouth. I did not say that. That's not what I said. I said that every time it was tried, it ended up that way. Every time. Every single time. It either ended up a brutal dictatorship or a brutal oligarchy. Every single time. Fidel Castro, Pol Pot, Stalin, Mao. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Every single fucking time it's tried. It is a failed ideology. You might like it, and if you like it, wonderful, but it's still a failed ideology. It's been tried numerous times. It always fails. I mean, China, even China has said that this is the Chinese government themselves saying that no, they're going to incorporate elements, quote unquote, of democracy because communism doesn't properly work adequately in their country. This is from the Chinese government themselves. Okay.
You say China is not communist now?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work, Nadia. I don't, I'm sure you're an advocate of it. I'm sure you believe in it. I'm sure in your mind is probably wonderful. But the problem is it doesn't fucking work. It's been tried every time. It always fails every single time. Now, in small groups, communism would probably be effective. In very small groups,
you say not country Scotsman or have succeeded?
In a very small group, communism probably works okay. All right, but even in a small group, okay, I got $10 in my pocket. All right, if I give 10 people $1, how much money have I got left? Well, I ain't got none. Duh, I don't have any money left. All right, yes, that's an oversimplification. I'll give you that, but still, communism doesn't work. It doesn't work, Nadia. It don't.
Except for China, where
the system we got,
it's not capitalism, or not communism.
The system we have may not be the best system. It may not work, and it may be currently broken, which it is. I'll give you that. It is currently broken, but it's still a better system than the alternative. It's still a better system than the alternative, in my humble opinion.
So China has no true Scotsman. That's your big argument. It survived the attacks on it, therefore it must not be a communist government.
Zion, listen, Zion, what we have out there is not capitalism. What we have out there is crony capitalism. If we had real capitalism out there, I have no doubt that we'd probably be thriving right now. But what we have out there is crony capitalism. These banks that are, quote, too big to fail, bullshit. I'm self-employed, bro. Do you see me prospering? No, you see me struggling. You know why? Because of the fucking system. We've got a broken system. We've got a system that says banks are too big to fail. We got a system that says GM is too big to fail. We got a system that says the Toyota plant is too big to fail. Fuck that noise. Under real capitalism, if you're a shitty administrator, your business should go down the shitter. That's real capitalism. Okay? This artificially propping up shit, that's not capitalism. It's not. I don't care how you want to spin it or define it, it's still not capitalism. Capitalism says if you're a shitty administrator, your company should go down. Period. All right? So no, we don't have capitalism. We have crony capitalism. That's what we have currently today.
Fucking Avon. Hardcore truth, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to bullshit with my...
Bad results in no true capitalism. Oh dear.
Go ahead.
Bad results since no true Scotsman on capitalism.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to bless you all with my profound wisdom, and then I'm going to split.
Yeah, I'm splitting right now.
I do have to go though. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm gonna play a little bit of Skyrim or some Left 4 Dead or some shit. Eat me a bite of food, and then by the time I do all that, it'll be 6 o'clock and time to get the kids ready for school. I can either stay or I can come back. It don't matter. But well, no, I got to hop out in order to play anyway. So I may be back later on or something. If you still got it going on, I may come back. I'm gonna play some. I ain't played. I'm trying to get me a Jarl for my city I'm making for Skyrim, and I'm having some difficulties. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here for a bit. I may be back later on. I'll see you.
All right. Oh wow, Patrick is back. Didn't see you come in, dude. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe he's AFK.
Probably signed on and went to sleep. Scott,
Well,
what did you mean by PAS?
oh, what was that?
PAS.
I've seen physician-assisted suicide abbreviated as PAS.
Oh, okay. My view on that is when a person's life is in a point, where they're going to die soon anyway, it's an option they should have available to them to save pain, die with dignity. So I think it's more humane than forcing someone to consume additional medical costs and what have you, living an unbearable life with no hope.
Well, I think the gut argument is the hope's in the afterlife.
Afterlife?
You'll burn in hell. That's the Christian argument, I think.
Well, the Christian argument is based on what is most likely a completely faulty perception of what the universe is really like. I think basically death is just like prior to, well, just like before you were conceived. No difference. There's nothing there. Not so far as I'm aware. If someone can convince me otherwise, well, fine. But I've not encountered anything remotely approaching compelling evidence for that.
It's usually a moralistic argument for physical minds. It concludes that either the soul is mortal or doesn't exist.
No soul, just our mind, which is a function of the brain. And as the brain cells stop working, the mind goes away.
Right. There's a kind of a slippery slope type argument in there, amongst the various supporting lines of evidence in the arguments.
Well, the person...
That is essentially, as you incrementally lose more functionality, as you lose more of your brain, well, losing all of it then corresponds to, well, losing all of it and so on.
Well, something I should definitely, because I don't know if you heard it before, but even if you did, it is so important that it bears repeating regardless of the redundancy. My grandmother is in a situation where I think she would probably want physician-assisted suicide. And that's been based on conversations with her when she was rather more lucid than she is now. And as far as my grandfather is concerned, I suspect he would want it too. Because the two of them have been married, let's see, the last anniversary was December 31st, 2014. I believe that was their, was the 79th or the 80th? I don't remember exactly. But essentially, they don't want to be separated. And
So,
because of my grandmother's accident, you know, she had a fall. She cannot get out of bed. Now, one of their sons is living at the house, taking care of them. And it's a full-time job. And there's also medical expenses and stuff. Basically, their estate is being vaporized. And I think they would like to be able to pass something down.
well, my husband's case.
So it's a personal thing for me. So I'm basically telling you this because I have a bias that is strong enough to prevent me from being cold and logical about the subject.
My husband
I mean,
has a little bit,
but
and he
but I believe it should be
over
allowed.
the course of 10 months. Over the course of 10 months, I was caring for him. He had a hepatic encephalopathy set in, which pretty much has reduced him to not much more than just feeling pain and screaming about it. In the hospice on his deathbed. They were playing drug warrior. I guess trying to avoid giving large enough doses to rouse suspicion they were trying to hasten the process. Or who knows what, maybe more concerned about prospects for addiction than pain. He died screaming in agony.
Yeah.
Broke his arms against the bed. Broke his arms against the hospital bed as he died.
The thing is, it's really not technically a huge deal. It's just, you know, basically a severe overdose of morphine. You go into happy land dreams and gently pass away. Now, the real question would be, assuming physician-assisted suicide was going to be allowed, what would be the requisite conditions for allowing it? That is, could somebody simply just say, you know, I don't like this planet, I want to go? Or should there be conditions like my grandparents are facing, you know, extreme old age and rapid decrepitude, or, you know, people with painful cancer? I mean, like, for example, should there be an age barrier, for one thing? Should there be certain medical barriers, for another? Should there be a psychological test ahead of time? Stuff like that.
Belgium has, I guess, a process that lets more cases through within reason, and you know, still has expert opinion weighing in on it to make sure it's, you know, valid or whatever.
Yeah, Oregon has some pretty good requirements, I think. It's something like you have to be terminally ill with less than 6 months to live. You have to have more than one doctor basically approve your decision. You have a psychological evaluation to determine that you're in a right state of mind. And then once you're approved, you're given basically this cocktail of drugs to take, and you're still free to take those whenever you want.
That's pretty restrictive, though. I'd say Belgium's got improvements over Oregon, given nothing at all, or Oregon.
Yeah.
Well, okay, take Oregon, but
Yeah. Well,
Belgium's a better model.
yeah, it's once you've decided to allow it, the question then becomes, what are the criteria by which you allow it?
I think that the psychological evaluation is pretty important, because if someone wants to commit suicide because they're terminally ill and they're only going to have a life of pain for the next few months before they eventually die, that's a justifiable reason to wish to die. But if someone wants to commit suicide because they're depressed, then we should instead determine that and then try to treat the depression.
I would agree with that.
Well, that assumes, of course, that I think that's going to bring about their death anyway. Right? It can be doomed to a life of pain without actually killing them.
Right, chronic conditions also need to be considered, rather than only terminal.
But they're not in Oregon. Belgium, they are.
Yeah, right.
So.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a political hot potato, so getting a federal standard for it would be insanely difficult. I'm actually surprised to hear that Oregon has an actual law in place allowing it, especially considering the trouble Dr. Kevorkian got into.
I'm not familiar with that name.
He did physician-assisted suicides. The way they worked was, you know, old people or people with, you know, terminal cancer, generally old also, you know, wanted death with dignity and without consuming huge medical resources that would, you know, destroy their estate that they wanted to pass down to their heirs. He basically set up a system where they'd get an IV inserted, but he didn't press the button. The patient had to press the button. And I don't remember what cocktail he was using. Let's assume it was morphine. But it was essentially, you know, the patient would, you know, basically turn the switch or knob or whatever that allowed the drug to enter their system, and then minutes later they would be dead with no pain or suffering involved. And he got into a number of legal issues with it. I think the state of Michigan, it's actually, you know, don't rely on my bad memory. He must be in Wikipedia. So
He was in
if you
prison
Google
before he died.
Kevorkian, you should find him. I don't know the correct spelling, but Google is pretty good at guesstimating who you mean.
I believe he was in prison until he died.
Oh, that sucks. However, his service, while it was available, was actually in demand.
And, of course, plutocratically provisioned.
Yeah.
He died in 2011.
Okay.
Jack Kevorkian was an American pathologist, euthanasia activist, painter, author, composer, best known for publicly championing a terminal patient's right to die via physician-assisted suicide. He claimed to have assisted at least 130 patients to that end. In 1999, Kevorkian was arrested and tried for his direct role in a case of voluntary euthanasia. He was convicted of second-degree murder and served 8 years of a prison sentence. He was released on parole in 2007, and he died in 2011.
Okay.
Oh, so he actually got it before he died.
So at least he didn't have to die in prison. But, well, another fundamental question is, who owns you? That is, do you belong to yourself, or does somebody own you? Because the only reason to prevent physician-assisted suicide under, a reasonable set of guidelines is basically somebody else owns you and has the authority, the legal authority, to say, no, you have to die of natural causes, regardless of how long it takes, regardless of medical expenses, regardless of the pain you're going through, etc., etc.
What the natural cause?
Yeah. Now, in my opinion,
medicine goes bad and I put it out on the street. My medicine goes bad and I put it out on the street. Is it a natural cause when I die from medicine?
I don't want to be cold because I really, really am torn up about your situation and wish I could do something about it. But you've got type 1 diabetes. I don't know how that's contracted. And you've
autoimmune. It's autoimmune destruction of the pancreas.
All right. So you've had, unless these things were initiated by some external influence, it would be natural causes. That is, if you died from influenza, that's a natural cause.
That sounds like because responsibility is diffuse, no one's responsible at all.
this is a separate issue, but I'm going to put it forth anyway. Because the United States is such a rich country, and we have certain ideals regarding, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is in the preamble, we should provide medical care to everyone so that they don't have to go through what you're going through. And also provide...
Except, of course, for trans care, because that's cosmetic, even no matter what Europe says.
Yeah, I would not discriminate. There shouldn't be any level of discrimination based on LGBT status or anything that is in a similar category. I mean, people should have some kind of roof over their head, food, and medical care. Even if it's all basics, it should be made available for as long as required to, hopefully, it won't happen in all cases, obviously. May not even happen in the majority of cases, but until you could, you know, get your, climb the ladder, so to speak, you know. That is, I find your situation unjust.
Basic is a bit of trouble. What's basic? What's not?
Well, basic would be the necessary nutritional requirements required, the medical care necessity, medical necessities provided, some form of housing, you know, shelter, and, well, is there an and? I mean,
I like the idea of providing every person with a basic income.
yeah, I mean, we can afford to do it. We just have to divert resources from, well, the military. We're putting far too much money into the military. And what's particularly stupid about that is recent history has shown what happens when you do that. The Soviet Union collapsed because they were putting so many resources into their military in order to try and keep up with the United States. And the United States simply outproduced the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union went bankrupt. They failed. Now, we're doing the same thing that the Soviet Union did. We're bankrupting ourselves.
Nations with seniorage rights don't go bankrupt.
Well,
there actually is no bankruptcy law or status for nations.
Well, you know what I mean. We're spending our resources unnecessarily on a huge military when those resources could be better used at home. And we don't have to screw over a single military serviceman, you know, a personnel. We don't have to screw anybody over in the military to switch our priorities, because so much of that money is going into hardware and weapon systems and such that we don't need. I mean, we can cut our military budget in half and still have the most powerful military on Earth. And there are simple ways to reduce the number of people in the military, and that is to raise the requirements for entry. That is, higher school scores, better physical health, etc.
In the meantime.
And allow natural
Yeah, the basic
repetition
thing.
without a RIF program.
Yeah, the basic issue essentially means writing off someone's condition as they've got to pay their own way. Which, of course, someone with it won't be able to do. And they're with my headset again.
Whoa.
Right. So,
Was that me echoing? Because it stopped immediately when I muted myself.
no.
No, Nadia has a wireless headset and it cut out.
Okay.
And so her speaker, I assume she's using a laptop or something like that. That microphone.
And microwave will operate on the same frequencies.
No, it just cuts out randomly.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I still think you should do what you can to hold on to that laptop of yours, because...
Say basic. Oh, and that's not worth anything for resale.
Yeah, it's not
Another
worth
resale
anything
value.
to resell. But
moving on, I already know what to do with it. The main thing is, basic means writing off a bunch of people's conditions. At which point, well, you have people unjustly losing because their things aren't covered and so on. For instance, the basic coverage covers few of these test strips. Which wait, guess what? My condition, I can't really test my blood to keep things under control.
yeah, and unfortunately, there's nobody I know of that can simply flip a switch to fix that situation.
Well, I am helpless. I am being killed, but by who?
It
is some kind of human decision to, well, dispose of me.
It's odd that California, of all states, does not have a system in place to properly take care of people in your situation.
Well, what is my situation?
You know better than I do.
Maybe a corner case or whatever.
Yeah, edge cases and all that. I'm familiar with those in programming, and I guess they can also show up in law. But
Really, any try to apply rules?
it's no. What really, really pisses me off is that you have quite clearly a brilliant mind and nobody is forking over to access your services and take care, provide for your needs is.
Have you seen the National Transgender Discrimination Survey?
Yeah.
The educational attainment in this survey here.
I can guarantee you, I can absolutely guarantee you that there are a huge number of computer science and math graduates that do not have your level of talent.
Well, trick is compare those like me to me, and you'll see something shocking.
Well, yeah, there are issues in the industry with misogyny.
Worse.
I imagine that gets amplified quite a bit with LGBT. Well, the trans part anyway.
Worse.
Well, I didn't say how much amplified because I really can't put a number on it. I am familiar though with the misogyny in the community. Homophobia should not be an issue. I mean, if it was, Tim Cook would no longer be, would never have been CEO of Apple, because I can guarantee you that Steve Jobs knew when he hired Tim Cook what his situation was.
27% have college degrees, 20% have graduate, 47% are as qualified as me or more. That's half of all trans men. 1 out of every 5, as opposed to 1 out of every 10 for the general population. I should probably zoom in.
Well, we all know the job application process is nothing more than a numbers game.
No.
I mean, I've been through it myself. You have additional burdens, but you also have additional talents. And I think your talents outweigh the burdens.
Okay.
I mean, really, you totally blow me away in math and programming skills.
Okay, there we have it. College degree, 27%. Graduate degree, 20%. Should probably briefly present. Educational attainment of trans people is vastly higher.
Huh.
Yeah, but as opposed to what was it, 37% having
according to that graph,
college degree,
be swimming in money.
We're not.
I'm not.
I can go digging. Socioeconomic status or income or whatever. Let me see. Doesn't actually say that directly. It's got to be under employment. On page 50. For place of use, under employment. Information hiring. Work. Workplace things are bad, but in the underground economy. Root job performance by income. Well, I guess it says the income improves somehow if everything else goes right, and homelessness, work, lost jobs due to bias, unemployed respondents. Well, doesn't show you the income level, but lost jobs due to bias. At least is there.
Yeah, I would try to offer more advice than I've already tried to offer, but clearly it would be a case of the blind trying to lead the sighted. I know I had a low point where I was considering getting a surplus MASH type tent to live in.
I did present wrong. Real quick, and back. Okay, and now present. So, general population, pretty low. Overall sample, well, I'm apparently in the 8%. But anyway.
In spite of the fact that the work you've done has been rather specialized and esoteric in nature, the fact that you can do that means that you can do pretty much anything else.
That's not how hiring works.
Well, I mean, you have a full understanding of the theory of computation. You can do mathematical proofs and theorem proving and prove algorithms are good or not good for their intended use. You have understanding of computer architectures. It's,
It helps me.
Unless I'm overestimating your abilities, I mean...
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah. But what you know is really valuable. It's a question of getting the who part. It's unfortunate that Google Plus has not done that for you. I mean,
I've hidden feedback today. I hope not.
yeah. System seems cockeyed to me.
This wouldn't have happened in Europe. And what's the difference? Religion.
I don't know why your CV is so worthless.
Employment gaps. At least
Yeah,
the proximal cause.
you can
Why are the
explain.
employment gaps there?
You can explain
They are right.
employment gaps, right? I mean, you can basically put it down to medical issues.
You think if you say medical issues, situation. I think medical issues do anything but make you unreliable.
I am unable to come to any conclusions. And the irony is you live in like the mecca of the tech industry.
Well, that's no irony. That's why I went here. Why was the one-way flight to the job interview a one-way flight to the Bay Area?
And yet you don't have a job that is worthy of your skills.
Never will. Never again. Or even any job at all, really. I mean, once you're thrust into the abattoir with, hordes of unemployed, unskilled labor, you're never getting a job again.
Yeah, but you're not unskilled labor. And you really don't want to be playing in that field anyway.
Well, if it got me by, maybe I would, but it won't harm me.
All right, IBM and Oracle.
Bad idea to say company names.
Are
Don't
either of them going to do anything
don't
more than
connect them.
say yes,
Don't connect them. Don't connect them. Don't connect them. Don't connect them.
no connections?
Don't say the connection on here.
So neither of them are basically going to say, this was a stellar employee.
We are already doing it by implication.
Yeah. I know it's very, very typical for referenced companies as prior employees to basically say, yes, this person worked from this date to that date, and say nothing more to avoid legal liability issues.
Principle, yes. In practice, who knows?
Yeah, a particularly nice paying job I had, I lost because of rather ridiculous issues. Give me a second. They said, hours are flexible. I stupidly took them at their word for that. But that's not what really done me in. What done me in was another employee. Found out about that through the grapevine. Although I have no small matter of satisfaction knowing that within a few months of my departure, everything went to pot for the contracting company I was working for, because that employee was absolutely not qualified to do the stuff I was doing. So essentially, that company, the company failed. Gone. Poof.
I'm going to drop into Xboxes because things are pretty slow here.
Wow. Slow is an understatement.
Yeah, apparently they're full. No, why bother at this rate? $47 and I'm sweating in here. Maybe I gained more weight than I thought.
If it's 47 and you're sweating, not doing anything, in spite of your thyroid thing, that kind of implies your metabolism is doing something it shouldn't be doing.
It always is. Yeah. Well, we lost Scott to Xbox.
Yeah, there's only 3 people in here now, and I don't know how to pronounce.
Is one E-bar?
Yeah, Zayan Ebar. Don't know how to pronounce that.
Xbox is the one who's hidden from broadcast.
Okay, so there's a hangout going on somewhere else. Wonderful.
Yeah, I can't get into anyway.
Blocked or full?
Full.
Well, then I can't get into it either. It's Tuesday morning.
I wasn't invited to the event.
You weren't? I thought Xbox was one of your friends. Or circle
Maybe.
buddies, or whatever the fuck they call them on Google+.
I was invited. I see it now. Started at 9:05. Started at midnight. So in about 3.5 hours. That one will end. Except Shadow Haven will keep it going.
These hangout times really need to be done in UTC, considering they're global in scope.
They're converted.
Yeah, but when you say it's like 12 o'clock where you are, I'm, what, 4 hours ahead of you?
3.
3? What? Okay. Oh, what have we got? Eastern Time, Central, Mountain, and Pacific. Okay, yeah, 3.
None of it matters. It was all pissing in the wind. See what the medical place next door has to say. I won't be next door for long. This area is too heavily patrolled.
Did you ever get supplies for your glucose meter?
I got the Lancer gun.
Okay, cool.
Befuddled Senate. Strips are getting low. It's another story.
Yeah, my dad is currently on medication for type 2 diabetes,
Totally unrelated disease.
which kind of worries me because he like exercises and stuff and maintains a healthy diet, and so he's supposedly doing everything right, and somehow managed to come up with type 2 diabetes. Me, I've been a sugar junkie and et cetera,
Has
et cetera.
nothing to do. Has nothing to do with what I have. Names being similar is no genuine connection.
Well, I'm worried about getting type 2 myself. In fact, I spend an inordinate amount of time testing my toes to make sure that they still have nerve sensation. That is, no neuropathy.
No, somebody dropped. Somebody must have jumped ahead. Or they're hidden.
Hmm. Let's see. If I had notifications, I should have some like dingling bell type thingy telling me.
A notification? What?
Yeah, if I was invited to a chat or something. I mean, I get email shit.
Oh, hello. Yeah, they got about her being falling asleep, and apparently they had trolls. Trolls, well, are being kept out by. They have an infinite supply of sock accounts, of course, so I'm the one keeping them out by filling out the last slot. Um, uh, I don't think we have people actually like in opposite camps to here, but I just had one with Von Helton about abortion and euthanasia. You say he came in earlier and said what about? Mm. He came in earlier and did what again? Yeah, well, Midwestern types are the one who needs the outreach, so. Who? Yeah, like April 2014. Yeah. Yeah, the strike expired, I think, was it November or something? Maybe September. Uh, no. As far as I know, we're on good terms, although because of the kind of attention he attracts, he's not dropping into my channel that often. Well, even the text can be mashed up a bit. People have their own kind of grammatical styles or common spelling errors and so on. Hmm. I think it helps to have somebody who's like, you know, still reaching out and such. So, no, I guess I'm doing that. I managed to get along with people enough to not get distressed by them, be able to get along and such. I mean, people that are, a lot of people have trouble getting along with, like Nephilim 3 and Brett. I seem to be doing okay as far as, you know, we don't really piss each other off, and otherwise we can try to help that. I have kind of like a, well, not so self goal. I go off declaring it because I think it'd be dishonest just not declare it. You know, I've tried to help improve the standing image, whatever, of atheists amongst other people. So surveys always say that we're incredibly distrusted, worse than Muslims or anything, even after 9/11. So, well, that's what I do. I think I'll declare this hangout officially dead and take it off air because all it really is an invitation to trolls to expose themselves or get me flagged.